Welcome everybody, Doug Schakel, retired head men's basketball coach at Colorado Mesa University here. I've got a really good video for you here today. If you are a coach of a player or you are a player that needs some help in making a shooting form change, and there's a flaw that you need to have fixed, I'm going to share with you two of the very best drills that I've come up with in 51 years of coaching to help speed you along in that process. Now before we get into those drills, the first thing we need to know about when we're going to make a change is that it takes 21 days of conscientious practice to override a habit. Notice the word I used was override. You're not going to change that habit in 21 days, okay? But you can mask it or override it, and you can see results with the change that that you're making in a 21-day period of time. But if you take a couple of days off, you're going to find that old habit's going to return right away, because it takes, depending on the individual, 100 to 200,000 repetitions to replace a habit. So, but again, I can get the results that I want in about 21 days of conscientious practice. The thing is, I have to continue to do this conscientious practice every day from that point forward. Now the thing is, you don't need to spend blockbuster amounts of time on working on this shooting change on a daily basis. I'm going to show you, for example, the first drill I'm going to show you right now is a chance to get a lot of repetitions in a short amount of time, a lot of correct repetitions in a short amount of time. And the drill, if we want to call it that, I call this mirror rehearsal. All right, and the best part of it is you can do it at home. So let me show you how we're going to do that, and to do that we need to go find a mirror. Alright, so it shouldn't be too hard for us to find a mirror looking for. I'm going to go into our guest bedroom right here. You can take a look at, here's a floor length mirror, and you can see I've taped some lines on there, and I'll talk about that later. I've also got right over here, you can see this little round mirror. I can take that to the gym. I'll just kind of turn it around here and let you see that it has its own little stand right there, and you can see that red line, and we'll talk about that later. Or I can sit here on the bed, and you can see the two lines, the masking tape lines that I've put on the mirror here, and I'll explain those here in just a moment. Or I can go in here to the bathroom, and rather than sit down, I can stand up, and you can see I've got two lines on the mirror here to set me up for my mirror rehearsal drill. So let's go back into my office, and we'll start working on your mirror rehearsals. Alright, so one of the common shooting flaws that we see, people talk about this all the time, how they see the elbow out on the shooting hand or shooting arm side right here, and actually that's not the problem. That's the symptom, but it's not the cause. The cause of an elbow out is a basketball that has been moved into the center of the body, in this position right into here. And when I move the ball there, the elbow goes out. Now watch what happens when I move the ball over slightly offset. The elbow falls in place underneath the basketball. So one of the things then we're looking at is proper alignment. And what I need to see, first of all, if I've got a basketball right here, the first thing I want to do to get the ball properly aligned, and by the way, I want to make sure this line is in line with my nose, this line right here. This is a 4-inch slot, inside measurement, 4-inch slot right there. And I'll explain this angled piece of tape here in just a moment. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my body parts all aligned in this little narrow chute right here. Think of it as a small elevator shaft, if you will, or this slot that we've got going right here. So one of the first things I want to do is check my ball position, and so I want to set up so that the basketball, the edge of the basketball, is just about in line with this tape. And so if I drop the ball down here, you can see that I can still see my left eye right here. And where the error happens a lot of times is the ball gets over in front of the face like this, and we don't want that. So we want to be in this position right here. So there's a good way to check. Okay, and then you can look in the mirror, close your eyes, feel that position. Okay, then we get rid of the basketball, and we'll put our hands up in this position. Okay, and so now I'm checking for alignment. I want to make sure that my foot, my knee, my elbow, and my hand fit in this slot right in here. So it's not a perfectly straight line. You can see a slight angle right here. It's very slight, but everything fits inside of this chute. So it's not like stacking building blocks quite like one on top of the other, but we do have sort of a stack going on here. Again, foot, knee, elbow, hand right here. One of my checkpoints when I come up into this position right here is to see that my index finger, and I look in the mirror, is in line with the outside edge of my eyebrow, which means my middle finger would be in line with my ear. So as I'm coming out and freeze right there, okay, and I can see that index finger is in the proper position. Both hands keep rising until I get above my head, and now I begin my shot, making sure that it returns slowly, slow motion. Now I would really prefer to do this, I showed you earlier the mirror that's taped in the bathroom. I'd probably rather do this standing, because what you'll do is you can see this pretty soon you start getting comfortable and that leg goes over there. So I want to keep everything in the slot and keep it aligned right there. Now I have another device right here. There's a guy named Charlie Wallace out of Louisville, Kentucky, who has this new device called the Cube, Q-U-B-E, and I'll put the contact information here on the screen here in just a moment so that you would be able to contact him. But boy, I mean, this tells the story right here. I want the edge of the ball, in this case the cube, in line with the piece of tape here on the left. I want to make sure that the cube, the bottom of the cube, is parallel, so I don't want angles like this, or you can see what I'm talking about. That kind of fits in the slot right there as well. All right, and that's about as good a picture as you could get for having things lined up properly. All right, so again, I'm here, and now what I want to do is I want to get lots of repetitions, correct repetitions. Notice that balance hand, this hand, is coming up to above the head before I stop it and let the right hand continue on its shot. But I'm looking in the mirror. I'm looking for correct repetitions. I'm looking for this alignment right here. I'm looking to see if I put the cube in there, if I put a basketball in there, that the edge of the basketball is in line with the this piece of tape right here. And I'll tell you what, you can get a ton of repetitions here, but you've got to concentrate. And so here's what I like to see. I like to see that you do this at least 3 times a day, and either set a number of repetitions. I'm going to do 100 or 200 or 3, I don't know what it is, or I'm going to do it for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes. But the best way to do this is that you do it. You have a practice segment in the morning. You have one at noon. Now at noon you're at school maybe, and maybe you need to run into the boys or girls bathroom in front of a mirror there, or you can get in front of the trophy case or wherever you could find something that'll give you a reflection and be able to see that. But you need morning, noon, and you need one in the evening. And so I'm doing that 3 times a day, and after 21 days I will begin to see results in my shot, because I'm getting these correct repetitions over and over and over and over, and that is so critical. But let me say again, at the end of 21 days you can override but not replace a habit, and so you need to continue to do things like this, with this mirror rehearsal. But what a great way to get a ton of correct repetitions in here. And you want to be careful that you don't just blindly start doing this and you're not really paying attention to how I got things aligned in the slot. Slow motion. Okay, you're learning a different pathway, a neural pathway, I guess is one of the terms they use. So do it slow and correct. You don't have to do it fast. Okay, slow and correct, keeping everything in the slot. All right, so now I'm turned sideways to the mirror. I'm going to check a different part of my form right now. What I'm looking for right here is what we call the shooter's C. If you take a look here, here, and here, you see the letter C that's formed right here. What I don't want is a V and actually I'd have to show you the V. I don't know if you can even see it right there. Here's a V instead of a C. Now the brace I have on here, by the way, is it's a golf training device. It's used to create width in the backswing. But I saw this several years ago, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is perfect for getting into the reverse C, or the shooter C position, and it's especially good for if you've got kids that incorrectly collapse into a V instead of a C. This thing locks out. It won't go any farther than right there. So it's a real nice way that while I'm working on my shooting form, and even if I'm in the position where I'm facing straight ahead, this thing will it locks me up, so it's in that position, won't let me get in that V. So pretty good little device. You could get the shot link. You can buy them online, any golf warehouse online. There's one, DW Quail, that you can go to, and then you click on, you get on their site and you click on full swing, and then you'll find shot link as you scroll down. Right now they're making it, I think, in a white plastic. This one happened to be in a black. So anyway, so I'm looking for that position right in there. The other thing I'm looking for is that my upper arm from shoulder to elbow is parallel to this line right here. All right, so I'm making sure that my starting position right there, I'm looking in there. Then the next thing I'm doing is that from this position with upper arm parallel to the floor, I am simply going to straighten my arm. I'm going to straighten this lever and this lever right here. These two pieces are going to straighten to an 11 o'clock position. So it looks something like that. And if you look over here, I've got a piece of tape that's pointed to 11 o'clock. So 12 o'clock will be up here. So 11 is going to be there. So I want to be, when I finish up, I want to be in line with, parallel, I guess you'd say, when I get in my finished position of that one. So again, I can rehearse. I'm looking for parallel. I'm looking for 11 o'clock release position with the arm pointing in that direction. One other thing I want to talk about quickly is hand placement on the basketball, and this really, again, this is something that you could, just rehearse getting your hands on, placing the ball correctly. This is why I really like the cue, because it gets your hand under the basketball and your balance hand on the side of the ball. I see kids that work their hands around to the front, balance hand around the front, balance hand on top, and this one tells you exactly where you want it to be. So I think that's a real important thing. Now the other thing that I'm looking for, both on the shooting hand and on the balance hand, is that in terms of correct hand placement is, I want you to look at my index finger and my thumb, those two right there. Notice how they form a letter J. This, right in here, this forms the letter J. What I see sometimes is kids, they grasp or grab the ball and they drop their thumb into an L, so it's an L position, or a backwards L in this case, or sometimes even worse. So I want the ball just lays in the hand. You don't grab it or grip it right there. So I want a letter J, and then on the balance hand, I've got the same thing. Again, if you look at these two, the index finger and the thumb, I've got the letter J. Here's where I really find a lot of L's occasionally, and some that even go beyond an L, where they're really grabbing or gripping the basketball. And we just, we've got to have two-letter J's, call that J's for jumpers. And that's a real important position to be in right there, because I don't want to grab or grasp the ball with either one, especially that balance hand, because what's going to happen then is we have what we refer to often as balance hand interference, and it's going to affect the backspin or the backward rotation of the ball on the way to the basket. And it is this backward spin aerodynamically that holds a basketball in a straight line. If you have some type of side spin, like we do in baseball, well, the ball curves when we get some type of side rotation on it. So again, two-letter J's, no L's. I want to remind you that anytime you're going to make some kind of a change to your shot, when you put the ball or put our body parts in a new position, your immediate thought is going to be, wow, this feels weird. And my response to that is that, well, it is different but it is the feeling of correct. I think that's the important thing to understand, is that, you know, you have a comfort zone and you have a shot right now, even though it's flawed, it feels comfortable. It's wrong, but it's comfortable. And so you have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit and give a change that you're trying to make, give it a chance to work, and it will. Well, I know from personal experience that if you'll spend some time with the mirror rehearsal drill, you'll get some really outstanding results. Now, if you go back to our YouTube channel and click on part 2, I'm going to take you to the gym and show you another really great drill to help you fix your shooting form flaws.